Hey community, greetings. It's Travis. What's brewing today?
Travis McMaster.
Palm Springs and Body Sweat.
And Ask Yo Aunteas, Hometown Blues. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntea Kerel.
It's Auntie Duan.
And it's Auntie Jarrell.
Hey. And this is going to be an extra special episode because we have an awesome person that listens to the podcast, which is always interesting to get that perspective. But we have Travis, and I want to say this: it's corny, but it's funny to me in my head. Travis McMaster in the building. When I saw your last name, that's what came to my head.
Everybody loves my last
name.
name.
Rehearse that.
Right? I'm like, McMaster. It's a great last name. It is.
Well, you might. I'm good, but you might appreciate this. So I'm non-binary and use gender-neutral pronouns they them, but I use the gender-neutral honorific mix. So depending on the situation, it's like mix, McMaster, and it's like a whole lot of M's, and people can have a field day with that, I'm sure. So
I love it.
But to answer your question, I'm good. Excited to be here. Excited to be chatting with all of you. This is one of my favorite podcasts. I'm not even bullshitting. Every week I check in. I've been a fan since April of this year. I guess just to give a little bit of back. So I found you guys actually through Zaylor Stout. Where I work. So at my day job as a gay job, I'm a DEI leader, do some inclusion stuff, and one of the events that we put on is like a book club internal to the firm. And back in the spring, early summer, we were doing a 3-part series for our gay history. The first 2 sessions were just talking about the book, like what everybody got from it, etc. And then it ended in June with an interview with Zaylor. So it was cool to talk to Zaylor, interview him. I got to conduct the interview myself. But in April, when planning, I was like, okay, like he's probably done something. Like what's happening? And by good luck, found you all. And then like the following week, you all had Jarvis Sam on, who a few months prior to that, I had just started following on LinkedIn and was connected on LinkedIn. So it was like this rush of like DEI content. I loved it. So,
awesome.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like listening to you guys every Monday. So,
do you want to explain what DEI stands for? Because there might be some folks listening like, oh, what the hell is that?
They should know now. Shit.
Yeah. Well, in 2023, for those who might not know, DEI stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And it's a way to really help bring those 3 things to like employers at your job. I mean, I would say it applies really to anything in life, right? Surround yourself with a diversity, be inclusive to who you're with, making space for others. And then I guess that kind of leads into the equity part, helping those that like might need that extra lift. That way there's that equal opportunity for everything or for everybody. So,
thank you. Because, we may have some people that, whether they are in the United States or not, that might not understand these acronyms. We want to make sure that we're
on that.
And we probably got some first-time listeners, so it's good to clear that up. But it's so nice to finally have you on, though. Like I know we've like messaged on Instagram and we like shared stories and like messaged back and forth. So it's really cool to finally get to meet you.
Travis be on it too in the comments. I'm like, thank you, Travis. Thank you for commenting.
Really do.
Coming in clutch with the support, right?
Absolutely. It's needed.
So
I appreciate
it. So you've been listening since like April. Talk to us a little bit about like your experiences as a community member.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk about Beyonce real quick. So I will admit that I was a very, very loose Beyonce fan. I listen to a lot of electronic music and metal and rock and whatnot. But when Renaissance was coming out, knowing the amount of queer people that were on it, I was like, oh, sign me up. Right. And so I think at that point I got on the bandwagon and was like, I love this, like play it a lot. I mean, so much so I think it came out in 2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was wild to see like Beyonce in the top 5 with some like of these like horror metal bands that I listen to in terms of like how much. And so my one good friend, she went out to the show in Philly, and like y'all were talking about it, and I'm like, man, I've never had FOMO for a concert than I do like right now. But
you should have came out here.
I got my ticket for the movie in December, so I'm stoked about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a great time.
Question for you. You said like she was in your top 5. So like say like coming to the stage is Travis. What song would you come out to the stage right now with?
Oh, I can answer that because I have intro music for when I do public speaking.
Okay.
And I use Alternate with Angelica Ross, and I'm forgetting the third person, but Fierce.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I need to look it up because I'm discredited.
And that's the one Frank Gatson was talking about, I believe.
Yes.
That's right. How full circle is this conversation already? Right? We're not even 6 minutes into the episode.
Right? That's dope. I wonder, Jarrell Dewan, what would you come out to today? Like we haven't even asked ourselves that in a while.
Today?
Yeah. Like, or actually, even better, Dewan, like you just did some things at Afrotech.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have opening music that you came out to? Or if not, what would you have? Like, what song would be like, coming to the stage is Dewan Hawkins or Auntie Shar? Oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
I would love, not going to lie, I would love to have Whitney Houston's I'm Every Woman, and then I walk out just male presenting. Like...
You like the juxtaposition of everything.
Not even gonna lie. Like I would absolutely love that, to be honest with you.
I'm here for it.
Love contrast. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
What would you come out to right now, Jarrell?
It would have to be I'm That Girl. It's these motherfuckers ain't stopping me. It's the opening line. Like, these motherfuckers ain't stopping me. I'm coming out there with swag. Just like,
and that's funny you say that. Like, I hadn't listened to the album in a while, and today on my way to go vote, I put that album back in. And then the second it came in, I was like, damn, it's still happening. But damn, now I feel like I need a female song. I'm gonna do Her then by Megan Thee Stallion. Her.
Okay.
Yes.
Totally see you doing that too.
Oh, period.
I just think there's something. I just think there's something very interesting about, breaking gender norms and breaking stereotypes. And like, while like there are so many amazing, in the context of this question, like what song would you come out to? There's so many amazing songs or whatever, that I vibe with or whatever. Like, I don't know, like it's that juxtaposition, for example, this notion of like somebody that wanted to break the, the kind of corporate norms of people saying you guys. And so every time they walked into a room or they were speaking to a large group of people, regardless of who was in there, they would start saying you ladies. And so it's subversive. That. It's subversive, but it helps to bring the point home. Like, okay, we've normalized and we've been socialized to normalize, this male centric, like language. And, by subverting that and, flipping things on its head, it creates a certain level of awareness and appreciation for, diversity and inclusion. And so, yeah, I would absolutely love to.
But you said the Whitney, not the Shaka, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Even though the Shaka one's still fired.
Wait, but listen, don't be shading my singing voice because I don't sing, but I will sing. God damn it!
I think to elevate though, you should
you sing in the wrong key. Okay,
you should mix them together, mash up both versions.
Anything you want done, baby?
Shaka Khan. Right, then switch it to the Shaka Khan version when they say Shaka Khan. No, I mean that. Here's the thing. I mean, this is a sidebar. There's very few songs that a second person has potentially outdid the original version, and it's hard to outdo Shaka Khan.
And Whitney did it twice.
You know what?
Whitney did it twice.
Whitney's done it like 2-3 times.
Where'd the balloons come from?
Whitney came from the dead and said, "Yes, bitch, I know."
Honey, she said, "I'm that bitch." Okay,
that was awesome.
if y'all, FYI, if y'all are not watching on YouTube,
wow,
you missing out.
Oh, what? You have a Mac? It's the Mac computer, and you must have updated it. The thing, because I know in the update now, when you do certain gestures, certain stuff come on the screen now.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's
Hey, Margarita.
How do you get the confetti? Like, I just want to.
Right? Is it stroking? Is it like what?
Double your money.
That was so wild.
That was wild. That was weird. But yeah, like yeah, you're right. Whitney's done it a couple times, but like it's hard to outdo somebody because you just fall in love with the original. But then someone's like a Shaka Khan, and then she got the nerve. She got the nerve to do the Shaka Khan, like, and Whitney like killed the shit out.
And she killed it.
But
yeah, she did. And it was
so
perfect
Travis,
because, like, in the video, she was like pregnant and whatnot, with
right,
with the baby. It was just perfect.
I mean, to still hit the note, she could have peed on herself. She probably peed on herself, but still didn't trying to hit the note.
I can't with you right now.
I'm serious.
Clean up aisle 4.
I'm gonna hit them notes today, though. You gonna stay in there today, Bobby Christina?
Yes.
But Travis, question for you though. Like, where are you from? Like, where did you grow up? What area of the country are you from? Because you mentioned Philly.
Yeah, so I've lived in South Central Pennsylvania pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
Of those who are familiar with Utz potato chips or Snyder's pretzels of Hanover, like, I'm from Hanover, so
nice.
It's a nice centralized location in terms of like 2 hours to Philly, maybe 60 minutes to Baltimore, 4 hours to Pittsburgh, and through the last several years, my husband and I, we've been like slowly moving west by county. So now I live in Franklin County near Chambersburg, but it's still a smaller town. I mean, it's nice and populated. There's a lot of delicious restaurants, which was it last week when you all were talking about first dates and like restaurants? Like, I was thinking, there's a bunch of restaurants I would go to, and none of them are a chain because there's always some type of like gem restaurant, I think, in a small town or like really any town.
Correct me, because I was like, shit, that's all I knew back home.
So yeah, it's mostly been that, and some of it I think has been complacency. Some of it was when I got out of high school, I was like, I'm gonna be a rock star, but I was more content with just buying equipment and buying basses and drums and gear, living out of my mom's basement than actually pursuing anything.
Yeah.
And so then I went back to college when I was 21 at the Art Institute of York, Pennsylvania. Rest in peace, because that's a whole thing. Look it up with the Art Institutes. But and I was thinking like, okay, I was with a startup out of like Austin and York, and then I was working in Timonium, Maryland for a little bit, and thinking like, I'm going to go to Towson. Like, I always enjoyed going to Towson, Maryland, just for like the concerts at the Record Theater and just like the town center, the shopping, all the things. But through some, like, I guess the course of my career, I ended up back in school a second time. And then through a colleague that I went to school with, got a job in Gettysburg. So like Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Wow. There was a marketing company that I was there for many, many years. And I kind of like never left at a certain point because I had opportunity. I was building my career. I would have freelance clients occasionally. And it just kind of worked out that I could keep larger cities as like a fun place to visit. So
yeah. Did you meet your husband in that area too? Is that where you met your husband?
Yes. The fun story is I met Jer on MySpace, so that really like dates the conversation. Thank you, Tom.
You threw Jer in your top 5, didn't you? Hey.
Yeah. So I was in art school the first time, and so when I went back to school, when was that? I was 21, so it was 2007. I didn't know a lot of gay people. The one person I did know had actually, I think, moved to Philly and then down to DC to pursue being a stylist and whatnot. And thank you, MySpace. And you're just like randomly meeting people and doing the whole like, oh, you look familiar. Where do I know you from? And, like the biggest line of bullshit. So we just started chatting, and just like to date the MySpace, like this was MySpace before it even had chat. Maybe like you went to your messages
Yup.
and then you refreshed and the design was terrible and everybody thought they were a web developer because they were inserting music and all the things.
That's right. And all those like animated like
Animated GIFs and
the GIFs.
Yeah. So yeah, we met. We chatted for like all about like a month and a half on MySpace before we met in person. And
did you print off MapQuest to get there the first time?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I don't think so because he was also in Hanover, so there were certain parts that I kind of knew about and was like, well, we'll figure it out. We'll hope for the best.
Y'all were local buddies.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you might have had a TomTom by then.
Actually, I think I did because I was a stage tech for a while, and my parents got it for me because they were concerned I'd get lost going to New York and whatever. So yeah, met on MySpace, and this August marks what's the mental math? So usually so good at the 16 years together and 7 years married of that 16.
Wow, that's amazing! Awesome. Congratulations!
Yeah. Thanks.
Damn.
So we are really obnoxious about the month of August. So Dewan, when we learned that you and I both share August birthdays, I'm like, well, I love August because it's my birthday, my husband's birthday, when we met, wedding anniversary. Like all our friends are like, we get it. Ugh, shut up.
Right.
So.
Leo's love of pride.
You heard us groan, right? Oh.
Meanwhile, I don't say anything negative when it comes to their little season. So,
because you already said their little seasons, because we already know it ain't shit. We already know it ain't shit. So
because the proof has already been in the pudding. Because mine comes last after both of y'all's.
Whatever. Whatever. And now he's just gonna be like, oh, and Travis in there. So anyway, it's even better.
Yeah. Come on, August.
Okay.
I also like to think that Scar is a Leo because I love Scar's probably my favorite Disney villain. So I just imagine I'm a Leo. Scar's probably a Leo.
I can see that.
There we go.
Shaving our nails.
Although he gives
singing
me
songs.
more Scorpio energy, to be honest. But
Scar does.
Maybe.
Scar gives me Scorpio energy.
What does that mean? I don't even know what this Scorpio means.
I feel like that's the hyena.
Nasty.
Oh,
nasty.
What Scorpio season?
Oh, sorry, community. It's your birthday season.
Happy birthday to y'all. Happy birthday to y'all.
You're the exception. You're the anomaly. Whoever's listening right now.
I know a whole bunch of Scorpios, and this rings true.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Scorpios are my fave. Though I get along really well with Scorpios.
Same.
So,
you know what I appreciate about Scorpios? They don't wear their emotions on their sleeve. Like they're very close knit with their what they're really feeling, and they really love having like a very close knit group of people that they invite into their emotional well being or whatever. So you don't really know unless you're really really close with a Scorpio what that Scorpio is really like, and I actually really love that because like once you're in. And they're like the best. They're absolutely the best. They're ride or die. They will like rock with you, but they
nasty.
Oh yeah, they absolutely nasty.
Okay, then. And before we'll kind of dig into a little deeper about even just like maybe like the central PA portion in our Ask Yo Aunteas question. But like you're also part of a board, and I know that this is a board that you're like very proud to be on. So just explain what you're on.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So, All Services is a nonprofit based out of Harrisburg. Based out of Harrisburg. I joined the board this past June. Pardon me. So, I guess like the log line for Otter is they support the health and well-being of individuals living with HIV or AIDS and members of the LGBTQ+ community in Central PA by providing different inclusion and affirming services like healthcare services, wellness services, and a really nice space that gives you that comfortability. They have a clothing market, so if you're going through a transition or just exploring your gender, they have free clothing that you can get to figure that out. They have a food pantry, if you need food that they support. I knew about them for many years, kind of in the area, and knew them I knew it was a place to get prep. Like I was never on it, but like I knew of them for that, right? And I had the opportunity to lead a volunteer thing through my employer at this location and fell in love. Like Rosemary, the CEO, she gave us this nice
Hey, Rosemary.
Oh yeah, Rosemary is awesome. Love Rosemary. But she sent us home with like all this, like the different like handouts and whatnot. And that next morning, it's like 5 a.m. I'm awake. I'm reading everything, from the like chest binding to like different healthcare services to just all the things. Like, and I had no idea that this was essentially my backyard as a health facility. So when the opportunity came up to join the board, and whenever someone's like, "Can you come give your opinion?" Like, absolutely, I would love to give you my 2 cents. And knowing that it's for our community, helping our community. Of course, you don't have to be a part of the community to go there, but I can't help but wonder how much calmer 2007 would have been for me when I was coming out, figuring myself out, if I knew they had so much to offer when I felt so alone at that time. So stoked to be a part of Alder Health Services. They're fantastic.
And even out of that, it's just like wherever you may be, because like even just thinking about small town Michigan, I guess now that I guess like I'm in different areas and pretty good with myself, I don't even know what is in that area that I might even be pleasantly surprised that would have made life, easier for me as well. So it's just like for those that are listening, that they're like, oh, well, the aunties, they live in like New York and Philly and Seattle. They got all these resources, da, 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 da. No, it's not about the population of the city. Like there are resources of all shapes, sizes, of all communities throughout this country. And then even if not, ask around. If you need us, we'll search it out for you. We'll find somebody that knows something, because there's no reason to feel alone and feel like you have to like stay by yourself, and things like that, of trying to seek out information.
Yep. Build that community. I mean, that's kind of one of the biggest things I kind of talk about in my pride speeches and whatnot that I do. And if I'm jumping ahead, please stop me. Like I can just talk.
It's all you,
You've been listening.
Should we go back to the conversation about Scorpios?
So that's where I think being in a smaller town, well, I guess let me tee up a little bit more. So it was in 2017, right, where it really became apparent to me the importance of visibility. So I was at Taco Bell, love Taco Bell, and the person running the drive-through window was just like, "Oh, it's so cool to see someone that looks like you," right? So you can probably see all my facial piercings. Well, it's cold out now, so like I'm covered in tattoos. Like
got the nails on fleek too. The nails are popping.
The nails, yeah. Just applied those today. I'm very visually stimulating, to say the least.
Yeah.
And so that person, not to assume, but I can only imagine they were probably exploring their identity. They had to be younger, definitely a high school kid. But when they were like, "It's so cool to see somebody that looks like you in this area," it like in that moment, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, holy smokes! Like I can be what I never had growing up in this area, and I can just like exist. I can have my husband, and really be unapologetic about it. And it just kind of stayed with me, where now it's kind of become like this punk rock mission from my perspective, where like I don't care that it is a small town. And what I mean by that is like anybody should be able to live anywhere they want to, period. And that idea, and I even struggled with it when I was younger. Like, I don't belong here. I need to go to a big city or whatever. And it never happened, for various reasons. Right. But like that should not be on the brains of people. They should just be able to be in the space that they're at and decide to move wherever they want to go for other reasons other than I don't feel like I should exist here. I need to get out. And especially when it comes to safety, like that's a whole bigger, more important subject. But like, just leave people alone. Like, don't touch people. Like, be cool to people. Like, what the fuck? Just be cool. So,
so I mean, it's kind of, what was that saying? They'd say like, be the change you want to see in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, like that was, to your point, that's kind of one of the reasons why like I coached in or at private Catholic high schools for 15 years, was because growing up in the church and just not having that own level representation in my own church, right? Going to a school where I knew it was just important for young queer people to know that there is more than what some people are often pushing onto them to see. And just that I've been able to see I've had some athletes come back to me and just be like, thank you for helping me find myself.
Yeah,
right. And awesome. Like, they didn't come out while they were in high school. They came out afterwards, but like to come back to me and be like, seeing you live your life and you be there and not, come to me or just be like, like, I knew I didn't say anything. I treated them just like everybody else, and they noticed, and they were just simply but you being around was all I needed to have the permission to be able to come out as well too. And it's crazy when you just your presence of you being your authentic self, how life changing that can be.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll never forget the first time an old coworker / friend, they came out to me. I mean, like we went out for lunch and he was like, I'm gay. And I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. And there was that moment of like, like you were kind of part of that push, like you said, just existing, right. And seeing that example. It's just so important. So,
yeah. And honestly, you know what? I think let's take a quick little tea break right now, because I think this is a great segue into our Ask Yo Aunteas question today. And we've actually been holding on to this one for a while, so this is perfect timing. So we'll take a quick little tea break.
All right.
We interrupt this episode for very important information.
That's right. You've been asking for it for a long time, and we have heard you.
Yep, it's been a long time coming, but it's finally here.
Yo Aunteas
got
merch! Hey! That's right. You know what? We got tees, we got long tees, we got sweatshirts, we got fanny packs, there's just a whole gamut of stuff out there, so go and check that out.
We are so appreciative of your love and support, and we are so excited to launch it. Girl, where can we find this at?
Ma'am, they can head right over to MinoriTeaReport.com to check out the selection.
That's right. That's MINORITEA report.com.
Woo! I'm about to go get me some myself. All righty, ladies. What time is it?
Ask
your
Aunteas! All right. Who has it today? You got it, Dewan?
I got it. I got her. All right. I'm writing from Nowhere Town in Nowhere Country. What is going on with my reading today?
Pass the mic.
One. Were there more balloons?
1 star.
1 star. Yeah, 1 star.
Where the balloons
no balloons. Right, they all bust. All right. I'm writing from a nowhere town and a nowhere country. As you may know, growing up in a conservative place can be challenging for a young queer person. You can either loathe yourself in a closet or potentially lose everyone you care about by just coming out. I've seen it happen all the time, and it makes it hard to be proud of where I'm from. I dislike the culture here that has shunned people like me from making us feel like we don't deserve happiness. On the other hand, I've heard you all talk about being raised in a small town America, and it seems like you are all able to still find some joy, even portions of your small town I'm struggling today. What is going on? Even portions of your small town America. I can't help but feel jealous. I feel like I'm being robbed of an opportunity to truly appreciate being from where I'm from, mixed with being part of the LGBTQIA community. Is it even possible to divorce these lovable parts from the bad parts? Am I a hypocrite, or am I just overthinking myself into a migraine? Thanks, aunties, for your perspective. And good Lord, I am so sorry. Like, I cannot read for the life of me. Thanks, aunties, for any perspective you can provide. Oh,
I just want the community to know that I was the one that took the edible, not her, and I'm doing just fine.
And I know how to read.
Multiple ways.
At one point, I was reading around. At one point, I was reading along with you, and I'm like, she added some words up in here.
So did. But I was like, she get through it. She get through it.
Honey.
That sounds like a new like piece of merch. Like, I know how to read, and then on the back you'd be like,
Oh, bitch. Oh,
yeah.
Booticus. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that.
So long story short, this person is struggling with their identity as a small town individual, and what can they do to reconcile where they are with the feelings that they have?
And Travis, maybe let you go first, because like we're in a maybe more populated area. Like, I mean, it is what it is. How have you, like you said, kept being who you are despite maybe of what maybe the area still maybe wants to project on queer culture?
Yeah. I think to start, this is going to sound, I think, playful or whatever, but like, I'm being genuine. Find tunes, like music that like amps you up, right? Billy Porter's Children. I can't tell you the amount of times I've played that song when I've needed that boost, right? Yeah. Even to like step outside, or just the energy that music can have for somebody. Find those songs that really just like give you that energy to help give you that push. To that though, because obviously you got to go out. I think it's about somewhat finding the community, and that can be hard. The degrees of hardness of what that can look like vary, of course, depending on where you're at. But I think back to when my husband and I moved to where we live now. So it was a year ago we moved here. We moved more so for his job at the time, but we never came this far west. And again, it's only like an hour from where I mostly grew up and lived. But it was like I don't know it. Like, we don't know anybody. We know that it's a level conservative, right? But thankfully, in 2023, or in this case, 2022 at that time, there are so many more towns having pride events, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, look to see where possibly your closest pride event is. Like, when I spoke at York County Pride this past June, part of my speech involved just talking about, on June 10th, there were I think 7 pride events happening just on that day. And then in the course of pride season in Pennsylvania, for example, it's there was 50 of them. So I say that find that pride event that might be close to you, and then look at those, look at the vendors. Of course, different groups do things differently, but when we moved here, I needed a new place to get my hair done. So I went to the Franklin County Pride Post because they had their stuff really well organized, found the salon, went there, was greeted with this Franklin County Pride sticker on the door, and was like, this is so cool. And that day ended up meeting someone who is now a friend. Actually, him and his husband are friends of ours. We were just at their wedding last month. So it's kind of finding those little nuggets where you can to slide the door, or slide in through the door, or start the conversation of finding people that are like you. Because even when I came out in 2007, I'll never forget when Jer was like, there's probably more LGBTQIA plus people in this area than you probably know, right? And thankfully now in 2023 there is technology, and I'm not even talking about dating apps. I'm just talking social media, from a social standpoint, right? Using Instagram and trying to build that community, finding people that might be in close proximity. So I guess that's one part of it. With obviously being in a conservative space, there is a level of safety, and I would always say safety has to come first. Just because unfortunately people just can't be cool. So with that, keep that in mind, and I do that for myself. I cover at times. I will, if I have to run to the grocery store, I will just present more masculine because I just need to get some oat milk and get out.
I'm just trying to get a damn tomato.
Yeah, but other times where I'm when I'm really feeling my oats, I'm no, I'm going to the nines, and whether it's the pharmacy, then the Starbucks, wherever, it's happening. Yeah. I'm just trying to look through the question as well. I mean, loathing, being in the closet, and that's always a tough question, right? To talk to anybody about like those who are in the closet, because we don't have a lot of context to this person's background. No, I think, and that's where like maybe leveraging again those pride events, that pride. And I know it's not June, but like when I think back to like again, I'll use Franklin County Pride as that example. Like people of the community are going to respond to those posts, right? I already talked about vendors and different entertainment and like things that were there. So like you can find like other like restaurants or bars that are supportive. You know, there's a great brewery in town that is like ally as fuck. And, you know, we love going to brunch there. You know, they have their pride sticker, and it's been great to like kind of like foster that like small community there. I feel like I'm doing some rambling. I'm looking through the questions. I want to try to like touch on all of it.
Yeah, and honestly, like while you're looking through it, like think? my first thought is like, and you hit on a lot of the points that I would have done. And even if like say social media, because a lot of times you got to put your actual name or at least close to your damn name or whatever it may be to sign up. Maybe try like something like a Reddit and things like that. If you're scared of your safety and your security, like with a lot of things with this, like a lot of the wars in the country, not even just like the Israel-Palestinian war, just the wars in Africa, like the first thing on my mind is just like the queer culture of where it's already been so hard to survive, and you throw this extra layer of just shit on top. And I've been watching just like a lot of documentaries of just like how our queer culture surviving in some of these countries that are is like really, really bad. I mean, it's bad everywhere, but there's just always this sense of we find a way, you know, and all we want to do is to be seen and heard and loved. And to hear some of these stories, I'm just like, wow, we really do find a way. So if there's a will, there's a way. Even if you need to save up them coins and get out of town for a weekend or a day or half a day, whatever it is, to go somewhere where it may be a little easier to be presenting the way you want to, or to go to a club that you want to go to, whatever it may be. Because sometimes you just need that release to feel like you're being yourself. And I like that idea with the music, because there's sometimes just dancing to some queer ass music in the crib is where it's at, you know. It's like, bitch, yes, I'm coming out. I'm every woman, her, she, like whatever it may be that gives you that moment of joy, and that just kind of almost revitalizes the serotonin in your being and things like that. And then obviously it just, you got to reset for the next day and life get hard a little bit again. But I just find like if there's a possibility for you to create the community that you want, do so, because that's why we started the podcast. That's why you're on the board. That's why, you know, like we're trying to do what we can do to foster whatever we can to be seen and heard in our little neck of the woods. Doesn't make it easy. Doesn't make it that you won't have a hard day tomorrow. But at least in that moment in time, try to find those little pockets. And I mean, like that's what the podcast is for. If we can even make you laugh a little bit or whatever it may be to provide some joy of others that have lived in that situation. Because I always think back, what would I do if I lived in Freeland, Michigan again? I don't know, but I think now of what I know is that I'm going to try to foster some community. I'm going to try to seek it out somehow, some way, because the alternative ain't it. And I don't want to be it. You know, I don't want it to be it. So just find a way. We know it's hard. And don't let others feel like you don't deserve happiness. That's the other key I want to hit on. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. Fuck everybody else, period.
Yeah. And I agree. I think all of it really starts with just choosing you first, and not choosing to focus more on how other people are going to perceive you, how other people are going to react, but focus on how this is going to allow you to be your most authentic self and start living a life that's meaningful for you. And I think just making sure that in these smaller areas that you are choosing you in ways that fit where you live, because it is easier to say in a bigger city that, oh, I can just choose myself by going to this gay bar over here, or going to this center over here, or going to this queer friendly restaurant over here. But in smaller places, what choosing you may look like might be different than us. Right.
1000%.
So choosing you could simply just being finding someone that you can be your authentic self with, that you can trust and confide in, that will give you the space. Your community can be just you and someone else, right? The community doesn't have to be you and thousands and hundreds and tens of other people. The community can be you and one other person that gives you what you need out of that, right? And so find what that looks like for you and your circumstances and where you live. And then from there, figure out how you can grow and find community in other ways first. Because at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that you have a place and a space at home where you live. And although I love the idea of traveling somewhere to go to escape reality and stuff like that, but the key to me, or at least I personally think, is making sure that you have a space where you live, where you are, that you can easily get to, because it might be months, weeks, days, years before you can escape that reality, right? So what do you do in the meantime? And that could simply be just that. Or maybe you find, if there is a place where you can go, and maybe there is a pride flag or something that's queer friendly or something along those lines, and find community within there, but just figure out what that looks like for you, because we all come out in different ways. Some people like, hey, I'm jumping feet first into the deep end, and some people like, I might, step my toe in it, step my dick in it or something, and just ease up on into it, right? So
he's on down the road.
right? So just know that it's going to vary. That level of that first step, it's still a first step, and it just may look different from other people, and that's okay.
Yeah, I agree with you all. I'm just going to go back to, I think, the core of like what this community member was asking, which is like, how do I find joy in the hometown that I grew up in that doesn't appreciate me? And I'm going to tell you that's not easy. It's just not. But I think the lowest common denominator is the fact that you were born there, and you can love that because you bring in a level of diversity to that particular place that people perhaps have not seen, and that is something to be proud of. I think there probably also are some traditions that you still hold dear, and you can hold on to those, whether it's family traditions or traditions with your friends, or kind of like those beautiful moments that you really relish about having grown up where you've grown up. I think it becomes very easy in the despair of not being in the place or being in the body or being in the mindset of what you envision you want to be. And that can be very frustrating, and that can sometimes overshadow all the potential goodness that you could latch onto. And so when you ask the question, am I overthinking it? To color entire lifetime of experiences, as potentially negative, or everything about the town or the community that you grew up in as negative, that might be a little overthinking it, but I don't know your experience. And so you may be 100% spot on. There are people that have, for worse, I was going to say better or worse, but for worse, have had a real shit hand dealt to them, from the time that they were born. And that's difficult to navigate. But again, I go back to what I said before. The one thing that you can count on is the fact that you were born and you exist for a reason, and there is purpose, and there is joy, and there's life in your spirit. And that's a very, very good thing. And about the community that's around you, you don't have to love everything, but maybe there might be one thing that you can be like, you know what? I hate everything about this city except for them crab cakes that I get over at Auntie Mamie's.
I know that's right.
Whatever, like there might be some one little thing that you absolutely love, that like no matter where you go, no matter where life takes you, that you can be like, yeah, you know what? That was a shitty
that
ass
muscle
town,
man that worked at the Kroger.
Right,
with the nice ass.
But that crossing guard, honey, honey,
I be driving by every day at 312.
Right, and I know that this is like a little element of like levity, but the reality of it is sometimes when you can't find the big things of joy, you have to dig a little bit deeper and find the small things of joy. And every little piece of it matters. So, this notion of like, is it possible to divorce like these bad feelings from these good feelings? Yeah, I think with practice. And I think, unfortunately, you're in a situation where it's hard to see, the silver lining for all the clouds, but it exists. And so you just have to do a little bit of that work, and, and at some point you're going to be wherever it is that you're going to be, whether it's going to be in that town, in the next town next door, or in a bigger city or whatever. And you will eventually be at a place where you'd be like, I can look back on my life in where I grew up and say, okay, these are the things that I really appreciate about it. Because I'll tell you one thing, I sure as hell ain't moving back to Maple Heights, Ohio. Ain't moving back for anything.
I adore my family. They still love it. And it's funny because like I posted this on Facebook the other day. It was something I posted in 2009. And all it said was, I got to get out of this small city. And that was it. And then, so like looking at 2009, I wasn't able to get out until like the beginning of 2012. So it still took 2.5, 3 more years to get out of there to figure it out. But if you do feel like you need to get out, start that ball rolling. It took a minute, but I found a way to do so. It wasn't easy, but I found a way to do so to make sure that I was still getting the joy that I needed. Because I knew in my heart of hearts, I couldn't stay there. It wasn't going to be what I needed to feel happy in life. And so I get that whole like don't deserve happiness piece, like because that's what it does feel like. You're like, damn, this is not it.
I was gonna say like it will feel exhausting. It will feel exhausting. But the crazy thing about it is over time, you will find yourself being like, damn, like look at how much I've changed. Look how much I've grown. Like you'll find yourself looking back and be like, damn, I did that. And then all of a sudden you have a new flame. You have a new fire in you because you have something to look back and be like, dang, I did that. And although
like,
I'm tired,
dare you to say something about this wig. I dare you to say something about my painted toes. Like, I dare you.
It's crazy how it really does become a strength, like very quickly. And it literally just again kind of stems from just choosing yourself, right? And just choosing to, put one foot in front of the other to just find your happiness.
You know what's wild is that we started out this conversation talking about the importance of representation and being the example. And though this particular individual might not see it, there is no telling how many lives this individual has touched in a positive way by just being themselves. And even bystanders, like, oh, you're like, oh, every time I go to the gas station where I got somebody yelling out, expletives at me and all this other stuff. And there might be a bystander that sees your resilience and the fact that
Travis trying to get a Crunch Wrap Supreme.
That sounds really good right about now.
And somebody may see that and they may either empathize or they may see hope because they're like, okay, well, if they can do it, if they can endure it because they come from the same town, so they know what the experience is. If they can endure it, that gives me hope too. So like you will never really know the real beauty of your hometown experience until much, 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 much later. And I will tell you, like, it took me a long time to look back fondly on, Cleveland / Maple Heights, like in that kind of way. Cause I couldn't wait to get out of high school. I couldn't wait to to get my ass out of that town and get out from underneath, that environment. But at the same time, now looking back, I think about all the really beautiful moments that I was able to experience either in private
1000%.
or in public.
Yeah. And even if you don't completely despise the area, there's still like this little jab and you're like, it's like, I'm fine. But and you always have that but ... Because like I look back very fondly. I still have great friends there. I still like going back to visit my hometown, etc. But even then, I just knew this was not my final destination. Like I wasn't going to be able to be the full Kerel that I needed to be. So I was like, even though right now it ain't happening, I gotta get these wheels churning somehow, some way to figure that out. And I think I'm still figuring it out, honestly. Like, despite being in multiple quote unquote larger cities, I think you still figure it out. So, like, I also don't want you to think this mirage that is social media, the mirage that is Minority Report sometimes, even because I'm sure sometimes maybe even gloss more of the high points in our lives and the low points, that everything is so peachy keen. And so,
especially if you don't fit into the typical box, that one particular box within the LGBTQIA plus community, like there's a lot of other things that you have to deal with inside the community as well too, that you might also find yourself having to navigate as well. We also often on the podcast talk about just racism within the community and how that on its own is a whole other thing that we are still navigating as well too. So
or being non-binary with like people just saying, "Oh, I don't want to say pronoun." Sit down here.
Yeah, the whole thing. Well, and even like I keep staring at like the young queer part because I think, I mean, it's been said several times like there's going to be some time. It's going to take some time. There's going to be some reflection, and you know that's as someone that loves to get. Look, I'm an only child, so I love to get what I want when I want it ASAP. Cheers to that. And so when it doesn't happen, it's like, ugh. It's pretty rad. When it doesn't, it sucks. But you know, I think as a young person though, like it's so hard to remember. Like you have so much of the rest of your life, right? And like, and to that point of like, today is not going to be that day forever, and like try to find that patience. And you know whether you know like whether you write it down, right? Like, this is the thing I feel like I've heard more like in my 30s now, like writing down those goals, like that whole mindset of like putting it on paper, figuring out how you're going to do it, like to help like manifest it, make it real. Like there's some truth behind that. You know, I've definitely gotten on like the manifest bandwagon. You know, I'll even say like being here, I feel like I partly manifested that in terms of like trying to make things happen for myself, you know, and or in my career or wherever. So like, you know, I specifically as like a young queer person, you know, just like get a good outfit, get a good seatbelt because you're in for a ride, and know that like
get a good outfit.
You know, and like get a good pair of running shoes because like it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So like you've got to be able to pace yourself. And if it doesn't happen tomorrow and it doesn't happen by next Friday, that doesn't mean it's never not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we end at because that was perfect. That was perfect. You better bring us on home.
That was a good question. And honestly, this one has been sitting out there for a minute. So community members, if you've said something and you're like, bitch, these aunties still ain't got there, it's coming. We just got to find the right situation, you know, in the moment for it to kind of squeeze in there. So Travis was that perfect person to be talking about this as well. So continue to send your questions to aya@minorityareport.com or DM us. And by the way, I'm very proud of myself. I said last week that I was going to have no voice, and I'm here in full voice after a Palm Springs Pride weekend.
You're right. You absolutely right, and we are proud of you. But how your back doing though is the question.
It took the shit out of it this morning. Literally, it was so funny because like I was like, oh god, okay, because like every couple weeks we have and I feel like almost shard this moment. We have the house cleaners come over, and so we put the sheets in the washer and everything like that. So I was like, oh shit, the house cleaners are coming. Let me take it off. So I'm like hurrying up to take the sheets off, and like we have one where like we have the elastic band that kind of goes over the corners of it. So it got stuck a little bit, and it like jolted my back, and I was like, oh my god, I can't move. I was like, oh my god, taking the damn sheets off, and I was like, oh, and it still hurts. Like breathing hurts like the middle of my back right now.
Ooh, honey,
this is
honey,
your back pain.
Literally, and I was like, what in the world? This is the first time like I've had this moment where I'm like, damn. It's like I ain't even did nothing. I was like, I wish I was like getting my back blown out or blowing cords back or something. No, I was just taking the damn sheets off the bed.
Girl, you hear this? That's 40. That's 40 bed saying,
it's like, hey,
coming for your ass.
Oh, I hear it.
I was like, oh my god! I was like, this is too funny not to put on social media.
Welcome to the
party. Because I was like, ain't this a bitch? Oh my god! But yes, I survived another Palm Springs Pride. It was awesome. I mean, it's always awesome. Like, obviously, to catch up with friends and things like that. And then
I had Kerel in the streets, y'all.
Honey, don't go nowhere. It's a great thing because people are like knowing Minority Report. But I'm telling you, 2 days in a row at the nightclub. At like the first night, it was at Barracks, but there's like a leather daddy bar, and everybody got their shirts off and
Sign me up for that.
And it was everything. It was great. But then they go, I had just got a drink, had just got in there like 5 minutes before, got a drink, and it goes, Auntie Kerel? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, oh, I thought that was you. What's up? Da, 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 da. He's like, I know Jarrell from Seattle. Da, da, da. So that was Arthur, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what's up, boo, if you're watching this episode? So I'm like, oh my God. I was like, well, girl, if I'm out here just debauchery, you keep your mouth shut. And so I'm like, no, great meeting you, blah, blah, blah. Took a picture of them, sent it to the girls. And then same thing the next night. Go to fucking Tool Shed, which is just another kind of like leather bar or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, this can't be like the Sidetrack or something. It's got to be like the Jackhammers of the world or something that I'm at. And same thing. And it's two people that know Jarrell from Seattle. And they're like, Auntie Kerel? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, shit, good thing I ain't doing nothing too crazy out here because shit. And they're like, oh, you over here famous now? Because I had told them, I was like, oh, the same thing happened last night. They're like, oh, shit, y'all famous. I was like, we ain't even famous.
I hope you're all carrying Sharpies around. You're going to have to start autographing pecs and muscles and all the things.
Testicles, booty cheeks.
And booty cheeks.
Okay.
Maybe it's not a bad thing. But it was so funny. I'm like, so I texted Jarrell, I'm like, Jarrell, you got me in these streets. I can't go nowhere. You got all these people on these streets. Like, damn. And so what was their names again? I feel bad.
Oh my gosh, because I knew about like 50 people that were down there, honestly.
And by that point, that point at Tool Shed, I was already like,
David and Chris.
No, yeah, David and Chris from Minneapolis. So it was two other people from Minneapolis.
It was Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Like,
so
girl,
it was really cool.
Can't go nowhere. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, no, it's cool. But it kind of made me almost think, because just like these weekends, obviously, especially like the Pride weekends and like the Palm Springs and the Wilton Manors and things like that, it's just like heavily sexualized in a way. And part of me is like, that's what I kind of almost enjoy, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's all about sex, this and that. But I'm like, so? because I feel like I've become so comfortable with myself. And I'm not out here like one of those muscle-bound mans putting his face in the sand dudes, like, I'm not like the LL rip dude, but I will be the first one with my shirt off. I don't care. Like, and I was like, I'm kind of happy now. Like, it's weird. It's weird to like become more and more comfortable with yourself, even the sexualized part of yourself that maybe I couldn't said even at the beginning of the podcast journey, honestly, And so I was sitting there just thinking, I was like, wow, this is just an interesting perspective. And it's like, if that's not your tea, it's not your tea. But I was just like, I think there's still part of this community that is rightfully so and warranted to still exist. Because for some of us, it takes a while to feel that comfortable to maybe dab a toe in. I mean, the bitch married now, so it's like I ain't cannonballing in it. But I don't know. It was just something that kind of hit me this past weekend. That because like even Corey was just like, it's just so sexualized. And I'm like, so? And I think I used to feel bad to say so. And it was just something that maybe just this weekend kind of hit me. So I was just thinking, what's you guys' perspective? I don't know.
Honestly, I used to feel some kind of way. I'm like, why I gotta be all that? But honestly, I think for me, I had to put it in perspective. And I think about to the person that wrote the Ask Yo Aunteas question. There are a lot of us that live in places that aren't allowed to be themselves and to be able to experience a side of themselves without consequences.
Yeah.
And so it is important that we still make sure that there are those spaces, even if it's not for you, that those who would like to explore it, that would like the opportunity, could if they wanted to.
Right.
And so now I just be like, you know what? Y'all go have a good time. Do what you do.
Do what you gotta do.
Right? Do what you do. And I'll see the videos on Twitter. So
I know that's right. That's right. Yeah, like it really took this past, and it's not like it was like anything different this weekend. It's like the same shit, different year. But I was like, wow, I'm just way more comfortable with myself, and and that like if you do get flirted on or a compliment or whatever, like thank you, yeah, Yeah.
Feels good, right?
You know? It's like, absolutely. You see it. You see me. and yeah.
I am horrible at taking compliments. When
I'm
like,
terrible
oh my God.
still, but
Someone said in the Midwest, like people from the Midwest, how they take compliments is they tell the price of whatever they bought. They be like,
I did that. They're like, oh, I like your shorts. I was like, oh, these were just like $19.99 from Old Navy.
I'm done with you right now.
I'm so bad. You
I
just
really do that. I really do that so bad. They be like, oh, I like your shirt. Oh my God, guess it was just $10, girl. Let me tell you, like, like. I cannot accept the compliments to save my life. I am not good at it. No. Although I did take one for the first time because I noticed I've been growing my beard out.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good.
And thank you. Honestly, I literally just woke up and I was like, I'm gonna do it just because I could. I never have, but I was just like, we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna do it. And then someone was like, I like the beard on you. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. This was a risk. I wasn't sure because I got a round face. And normally I like to keep it tight so that way I don't look too like a goddamn gusher, bitch. You know, like
not a gusher, girl.
But yeah. And another cool thing is like just over time, just saying more sprinkling of just diversity, even outside of just like race, more non-binary, more people, whatever expressions that they want to have at these events. And I find that very, very cool that even in like a space that might be more your quote unquote leather scene or this or that, just seeing more folks seemingly more comfortable. And I don't know. And that just maybe in turn makes me want to be more comfortable. I don't know. Like, it's just something, obviously they say with age and things get better, blah, blah, blah. But there is some truth of that with some maturity that at the end of the day, it means a lot, but it doesn't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything at the same damn time. Like, you just know, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
You know, I can't deal with the sweaty ass bodies. That's the thing that gets me. Let me tell you, when I have to squeeze by somebody and a bitch is wet, and I'm like,
and it's probably me because you know I'm the sweat.
No, not just you, me too, girl.
we both be in there looking like,
and I don't sweat. And I don't sweat.
It is
so for me, I'd be
worst.
Like, it is the worst.
I just like, and then the air when it's hot and you know people sweating, and you be like, what the fuck am I? Air or something, bitch? Are they spritzing up in here, bitch? Like, no.
I always thought like the sweatiness and like that taste in the air you're talking about was just a sign of like productivity. I'm like, I'm sweating. I've done some things. You know, like I think I've gotten some things done, right?
You, Travis.
Like, I'm leading into like whatever positive straw I can grasp. I'm grasping for it and clinging on it for dear life.
Okay.
It's like some people have been very productive in this atmosphere.
Yeah, people are dancing, people are feeling their oats, all the things. Right? I'm into that. Sign me up.
And now the Capricorn in my ass. Now I'm gonna be like this. Damn, I need to be more productive. So now it's gonna be me. That was the message I needed to hear because we're
gonna hear Jarrell next year at us. Bitch, you know what? I had a very productive year.
Yeah.
Jarrell's gonna be walking around with a spritz bottle, spritzing himself. Like if y'all gonna be wet, I'm gonna be wet too.
Productive.
That part, right? She need my Soul Glow activator.
Oh, you could just put like on the bottle productive and spray people with it.
Well, it depends what's in the bottle.
Somebody came up to me spraying something. I was like, the fuck?
You peeing on me?
But I mean, some people into it.
I did see the guy you were talking about, by the way.
Did you see Sir Peter?
And so the night that I saw him twice. And after this, I'll try to send you the picture I tried to take of him because he was like walking past the first time, so I didn't get it. And then the second time, it was too dark because so there was Tool Shed, which is like the bar, and then we had tickets to like this kind of like circuit party, which was like in one of these hotels, and like you know how they open up the conference room thing, so it's just like super dark, and we call it the carpet room. We're like, why are we like partying in the carpet room? But he was there, but it was too dark. And you know how the iPhones, if it's too dark, it do that slow ass picture.
Yeah.
And so by the time I was taking it would be moving a little bit. I'm like,
yeah.
Dang. But I did see him, and he's taller than I thought in person. He's like
really,
yeah.
Wow.
Shut the fuck up. Is he really?
Maybe a little shorter, maybe an inch shorter. And the bitch looked good. And his partner. Because his partner was like tagged, like rolling around him the whole night at Toolshed and this other place. Both of them. I was like, ooh, I'll slide in. Let me take my sweaty ass and slide all in between. Honey, he looked hella good in person.
Did he?
Hella good. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you ain't wrong with your assessment.
Look, Fizz was like, at one point, Fizz was like, are you sad you didn't go? I was like, no, I'm not sad. Yesterday, bitch, I had FOMO. like, but it's only FOMO because I just wanted to see that man. I just wanted to see him in person. That's it. Everything else, I'm okay with. I would have been.
And I mean, honestly, there was just a lot of good-looking human beings out there. A lot of good. I was like, good Jesus. I was like, let me go home.
I knew about 50 of them down there, so I was like, damn. Like literally every Instagram story I was watching, every every Instagram post, I was like, damn. Here's a house, another 10. There's a house, another 10 over there. There's a house, 8 over there. I was like, damn.
It was wild. It was crazy, but no, it was a blast, and obviously get to see the San Diego crew, get to see Issa. Hey, mom. So yeah, it was a good weekend. And we tried to call you both. We tried to call Jarrell first, and then Jamal's like, "Well, y'all ain't trying to call me." It's like, bitch, it was hard to even get reception in that thing. And then,
I can't even
the picture
imagine.
we took for that, we were just looking at extra sweaty and crazy, but
I got 2 drunk FaceTimes. I was like, oh, y'all having a great time.
And that night,
I have a FaceTime moment.
I was supposed to go to another party with them that Sunday night. We were going to go back, all change, the shower. Bitch, I sat down on that bed. It was like 8:45. I woke up the next day at like 8:45. I slept for damn near 12 hours. Was done. Done. Woke up to messages like, Kerel, where you at? FaceTimes, everything.
Gone.
My bitch was gone.
Oh, that was Sunday. That's when Issa was messing with FaceTiming me. Yeah.
That's why I have my voice. But yeah, so that's too funny. Well, you know what? Actually, Travis, we didn't even say your auntie name. And actually we need a new one because we realized I was like, I think we already had an espresso martini. So is there a particular vodka that you like in your espresso martini? We'll add to the long ass name.
That's a great question. I mean, I guess. Oh hell, I don't know. I feel like I should have an answer for this.
Whatever you got back there.
You don't have a favorite vodka that you have in your martinis? No,
not at this point. I just enjoyed going to different places where like they have espresso martinis just to see like what variants they do with it, or like making sure they have actual espresso or cold brew.
Okay.
What
makes it better than another?
Yeah.
Well, like using like real espresso, or like fresh espresso versus like artificially flavored like espresso. So like having that like the real espresso there versus just lots of artificial flavor. But when I
don't want no Folgers.
No, we don't know her.
We don't know her.
When I was in Chicago what month is this? November. In September, I went to the Starbucks Reserve. They had this really great flight of espresso martinis, and there was hold on, can I Google it real quick to see?
Yeah. She must have the Starbucks Reserve version of espresso martini. That's what it is. It don't even need to be the vodka. It's like the locale.
There was an orange one, and it was so good.
Orange sounds good. Orange and chocolate. I kind of like
coffee.
Oh, girl, I don't really care for coffee either. But with my intermittent fasting, the coffee is an appetite suppressant, so it helps me. Let me tell you, and I need it because I'd be the size of a house if I didn't. Because a bitch be eating. Okay, she be eating.
What is your IF window?
220. Oh. Sorry, I thought you said how much I weigh.
Oh, girl, I would never.
At least not on the podcast.
Right. You might have to bleep that out.
Right?
I don't care. I'm thick with 4 C's. Okay, 220.
There we go. I know that's
baby.
right. You gonna get the body you get today.
Look, but I eat from noon to 8. That's my window.
Got you.
Yeah.
What's yours, Dewan?
11
Or
to 4.
you changed it now?
No.
Nope. Okay.
I'm 11 to 4.
You said 11 to 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for the intermittent fasting?
Uh-huh. Yep. 5-hour window. That's it.
Do you do 2 meals, 1 meal?
He said, however many I can fit. Between 11 and 4.
I can usually fit like a snack-ish. Like I'll have like oatmeal, and then I'll have like a meal, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And then after 4 o'clock, I try not to eat.
Yeah.
And if I do, then I just shift my whole window. So like, for example, tomorrow I've got dinner plans at 7 p.m., which probably means that I'll be eating until like 9, eating, drinking, whatever. So I'm literally probably just going to like fast all throughout the day. And then I'll just have that meal. And then the next day I'll start probably a little bit later. Well, the next day I'll be on a flight, but yeah.
Honestly, it gets easier to do the whole 24-hour fast. So to move your window gets easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the big thing, not to turn this whole podcast into intermittent fasting 101, but like, I think the big thing about, and what I appreciate about the whole intermittent fasting thing is like, it's helped me to realize how much I actually snack. Like, cause y'all know, I don't eat a lot in lot in one sitting. I like just eat a little bit.
Snack throughout the day.
And it's just amazing how frequently I'm just like, oh, I'll have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of this. And, I'm usually up to like, 12 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock almost every night anyways. And I'm up at 6 a.m. So it's like, that's a whole lot of time to be just like snacking throughout the course of the day.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Did you find the espresso you liked from Starbucks Reserve?
So I'm going to flip the script because I don't want to add like 17 more words. What about Auntie cold brew whiskey?
Okay, whiskey.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Jameson makes a good cold brew whiskey. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
How does that hit you with like? I guess probably
like this.
I was going to say,
the cold brew and the whiskey. That's a 1-2.
It sounds like it's going to give me the bubble guts. That's what it sounds like. Because both whiskey and coffee be like, ooh, I got that.
Well, I guess the way it's like the way it's fused or aged, whatever the process is. But yeah, the Jameson cold brew whiskey. I'll take it neat. I'll take it on the rocks. I can sip on it. It's so good. It's so good. So Auntie cold brew whiskey.
Yeah,
cold brew whiskey.
I like that. That's cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, where else can they find you? What else do you want to tout real quick that they need to check out? We know about the Alder. Check that out. What's their social, and then what's your social?
Yeah, so Alder Health Services. It's Alder Health on Instagram, Twitter. December 1st, we're having our annual Rubies and Roses World AIDS Day Gala. So it's a big fundraising event. So if you're in the I guess it's in Mechanicsburg, which is south of Harrisburg, 30 minutes, come get a ticket, come party, come help us raise some money.
That's wonderful.
Check them out. Yeah, it's really excited for that.
That's ALDER, right?
ALDER, correct. Yes. Okay. Alder Health. Or alderhealthservices.org. It has all the socials listed. So for myself, Instagram, Twitter, I have TikTok, but I never use it. Letterboxd, if you want to see which movies I either love, like, or hate. But it's More Than Mindless without the A because of the character limits. So MORETHNMINDLESS.
Okay. So, Dewan, do you do Letterboxd? That sounds like something you would do. No? Huh. Interesting. I've never heard of that. I like that though. Well, we appreciate you hopping on. You're welcome back anytime you need to.
Yeah,
honestly, and we appreciate you honestly because like you be in the DMs, you be hitting us up, like, and we love that. Like we love the camaraderie that we have with the community. So
Travis is a real one.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. I love your podcast. Like I was telling friends, like one of the things that especially being a white person in a small town, is like being able to meet more people with lived experiences and backgrounds, and just being able to have like sit down conversations, hear those stories, get those perspectives, and just like get some doors open for my own brain, right? And so like anytime there's like, whether the podcast media or some type of forum that encourages people to share their lived experiences to allow new perspectives, like sign me up. That's a big reason why I've gotten into DEI and all those things. So yeah, but thank you so much. This is awesome. This is great. Y'all kick so much ass.
Thank you, boo. We appreciate that.
We're gonna receive that.
Well, Dewan, maybe next week we'll talk more a little bit about Afrotech. We know you just had that, but I guess we ran it over a little bit. But we'll get all that scoop. And anything else on your hearts and minds?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, then
We'll talk to
you
y'all
know what
next
to do. Right. Wash your hands, your legs.
Oh
your
wait,
hands.
we got some guests next week.
Oh, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got some guests.
That's right. That's
next
right.
week,
Tune in next week for sure.
Tune in.
That's right. Oh, I'm glad you remembered that. And we'll leave
They
it
be
there.
mad.
Now, suspense.
They be
now.
mad.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Toodles.